You get to examine a lot of the pitfalls of your profession through this character. And
Yeah.
obviously, she's sort of desperate. She's in this
Yeah.
class. She seems to use the class like therapy.
Yeah. And she's a liar. They're all liars.
And she's a liar.
They all
She's
live in
gone
this
through
duality. And
sexual harassment. Like,
Yeah.
there's a scene about whether this guy wants to be her agent or whether he
Yeah.
wants to sleep with her, and she ends up
Yeah.
apologizing to him.
Totally.
Because it's awkward. So I wondered if looking at your profession that closely, even in a fictional sense, has had any effect on you personally. You know, I just wondered if it's forced more of a magnifying glass on your profession.
Yeah, there's definitely been, there's a level of scrutiny on what we do, and we need to, be microscopic about it, like you say. And it's interesting with that scene with the agent, for example. I remember when they wrote that, it was before the MeToo movement started and all kicked off, and I read it and I was like, this feels a bit extreme. I mean, I love it, let's do it, but I also feel like, would that really happen? Would he really say that?
And just so the audience knows, the setup is that he's an agent.
Yeah, and he's dangling a big audition, and he says, like, I get to this point with all my clients where I think, do I want to represent you or do I want to f you? And he just says it, and then Sally has no idea how to respond, and the writing is so brilliant at this point, and Bill and Alec had asked our female writers, because initially they wrote that she got really defiant and she storms out, and they're like, would this happen? I'm like, no, she'd apologize. And I thought that was so real. And, you know, the few times in my life that I've experienced sexual harassment, it's so surprising. It's just, it's such a shock. I don't think your brain quite has time to catch up. And then in one experience that I had, it was followed so quickly by shame, that man felt such shame, that my instinct was to take care of him instead of myself in that scenario. And I wanted to make sure he was okay or he wasn't embarrassed, which was totally bizarre and very upsetting when you break it down.
And was that within the acting world?
Yeah, that was backstage at a theater in London, yeah. And with that scene, I thought that line was a little extreme. And then when everything came out that's come out, I was like, I mean, we were so PG-13. I mean, we could have gone a lot further to expose what's going on. I mean, I was truly shocked by a lot of what came out. And I'm really glad that we had that scene, and I'm glad that we went far with it. But looking back, I mean, we could have
for sure
gone further.
Well, when you bring up that scene in particular, the scene where she's harassed, and I wasn't aware that you'd kind of gone through a situation like that, but
I think every woman has. I mean, yeah, I think I think it's way more common than anyone. I mean, I think that's what all this has shown us, really.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that the frequency of it, if you're a woman, it's just, oh, that's what happens.
Well, exactly. There's a numbness to it, and there's an acceptance that I'm glad we're all not accepting anymore, because there was a sort of feeling when all this kicked off. I mean, I had a feeling of complicity, honestly, where there's a certain level of behavior that I've tolerated in my life because it's just the way things are. And I'm not blaming myself for that. That's a culture that I grew up in that needs to change. But that's why this is an exciting time, I think, that we're all sort of going, hang on. And my frustration with it is like we're being asked to clean up a mess that we didn't create. And it's like we're taking on the female role again now of being the caretakers, and we're fixing this. But men are participating, and so grateful for them, the ones that are.
Well, it made me wonder if that's one of those gifts you talk about, that when you have to play that scene, not just for your work, but did that give you an opportunity to sort of really examine what had happened to you personally and sort of like have a different perspective on it rather than kind of putting it away in a box? And
it did, and there were certain experiences that came back to me that I had not really questioned at the time. And that was upsetting. And you want to kind of hug your younger self, and you wish you could go back and say it in the moment that was totally inappropriate. But not going to be hard on myself about that, because that's part, not going to, I really, it was interesting and not just with that scene, but when all of the Me Too stories came out, everyone was going back on their lives, and experiences were framed in a new light.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you like what you just saw, then why not subscribe? Click right here for lots more off camera. And if you want to see the hour-long version of these conversations, I'm going to give you the secret link. Here it is, offcamera.com. Check it out.